Hey. What are you doing up so late? Can't sleep because of the storm, huh? Yeah. Me too. Man, it's really coming down out there. So, what are you up to? You freaked out over a storm and you're watching horror movies? You weirdo. You're really not going to sleep tonight, are you? Yeah, well, I guess that makes two of us. Do you want some hot chocolate? Okay. Popcorn it is. Hey, come on, scooch. Alright, so, what are we watching? Oh, a zombie movie, huh? You know, I never pegged you for a George Romero fan. What is this, Night of the Living Dead? Oh, sorry, Dawn of the Dead. Yeah, that's the one with the mall and the biker gang, right? Oh, yeah, I remember this one now. Hey, it's okay. We're okay. The lights just went out, that's all. I'm gonna go flip the breaker and... Hey. It'll just be a second, I promise. You're really freaked out about this, aren't you? Listen, we can worry about that later. Let's just sit here until the rain settles, okay? Hey, are you alright? You really don't like thunder, do you? Don't worry. The storm should pass us before daybreak. It's gonna be okay. I know it's scary, but I'm right here with you. And I promise, I'm not gonna let anything happen, okay? No. The house will be fine. The storm isn't anywhere near bad enough to evacuate. Just listen to the rain for a bit, okay? It'll be over before you know it. I'm not going anywhere, I promise. We can just sit here and cuddle until the storm passes. That sound good? Hey, it's okay. That one was a bit further away. Just a little trick my dad taught me when I was little. You have this way of figuring out how far a lightning strike was by how long it took the sound of thunder to happen. Like that one, for example. It took about, I'd say about 10 seconds between the flash and the thunder. Divide that by 5 and what do you get? See? I knew you were smarter than you look. Okay. Ow. I'm just kidding, okay? Calm down. Well, I honestly don't know. My old man knew all sorts of homespun wisdom like that. To be honest, I used to think he just made that stuff up himself. But I guess he knew what he was talking about. Oh yeah, that's right. You never really got to meet my old man, did you? You would have liked him. He liked horror movies too. Almost as much as you, actually. Oh yeah. He swore up and down that he hated that sort of stuff. But he was always the first one to suggest a horror movie when we went to Blockbuster back then. Well, come to think of it, on nights like these, he'd even tell us ghost stories before bed. Man, Mom used to hate that. You really want to know about my old man's ghost stories? Aren't you already scared enough with the storm? Okay. I can see I piqued your interest. My old man used to tell us a bunch of different ghost stories when we were kids. Some of it was stuff we heard while he was a trucker, and others were just local legends. He used to have this one he'd tell whenever we had friends over called Bloody Eyes, Bloody Bones. And I swear that one was his favorite. It's not really one you tell with just a couple of people. It's more fun in a group. Kind of like the ones in that book. What was it called again? Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark? It's more for kids than anything else, really. Well, man, I kind of have a hard time remembering how it goes. I remember it had to do with a cave or some old boarded up mine and a bunch of kids that were dumb enough to go exploring by themselves. The idea is that at the beginning, the kids get lured in by the sound of someone whispering bloody eyes, bloody bones. Coming closer, and I'm gonna get you. The further the kids got in the cave, the louder you're supposed to say it. And right at the end of the story, when you have everyone in the room leaning in to hear you, you're supposed to jump and yell, "I got you! Bloody eyes, bloody bones!" Yeah, maybe it's not that scary now that I'm older, but man, when we were kids, that shit used to make us jump every time. This stuff really caught your interest, didn't it? Alright, I got another one for you. Actually has a funny story attached to it, too. Remember how I told you my old man used to be a trucker? He used to have this story from when he was on the road a long time ago. Not something that happened to him directly, I guess, but something he picked up on his CB. Okay, let's see. From what I remember, he was running super late driving through this weird backwoods shortcut he knew on his way to some shipping facility in... Man, what was it? Minnesota or something? Anyway, here he was hauling ass through this super dark stretch of road in the middle of nowhere at night. Not a soul around for miles. Nothing but trees on either side of the road and barely any radio stations to keep him awake. Out of nowhere, he starts picking up something on his CB radio. And like I said, there was nothing else going on. No radio, no nothing, so... My dad says screw it, and picks up the CB hoping to shoot the shit for a while to keep himself awake. According to my dad, the guy on the other end sounded panicked, like he was scared or something. Talked about seeing a wreck a few miles ahead. Real bad, apparently. My dad tries to calm him down, and the guy just keeps talking about the wreck. Starts rattling off about how many cars and how he managed to pull someone out of the wreckage, etc. The guy was a mess, stumbling through his words, and eventually he starts talking about how he's got one of the folks in the wreck in his cab. Some girl or something. Starts talking about a truck stop 10 miles away where he might be able to get some help or something. And right then, my old man says it's when he started seeing lights in the tree line from the distance. Now, my old man instantly knew that must have been the wreck. But there was no way to get his rig there without a road, so he just figured he'd keep going until he hit the next town. Maybe find that truck stop the guy mentioned, you know? So he decides to hail the dude on the CB, but all he could get was static. Now, at the time, he just assumed the dude somehow got out of range or something. After a while, he manages to get to the next town where he decides to stop at the truck stop the guy mentioned. Now, it's well past midnight, and my dad is exhausted. But he just had to know about the girl the guy mentioned, and he wanted to report the wreck just in case, you know. But when he mentions it to the clerk, he tells him not to bother, that there was no wreck. Now, obviously, there was a wreck. There was a fire. You know, he saw lights in the distance. Now, apparently, they'd heard all this stuff before. The way he told it, there was a wreck about 10 years back right where my dad saw the fire, where a big rig rammed a stalled vehicle into an embankment just past the trees. Apparently, there were no survivors either. And they said they'd been getting reports of the wreck and weird CB transmissions there ever since. Pretty freaky, huh? Okay, so the funny part is, when he first told me this, he was taking me with him on a job. I was about 8 years old at the time, and we were supposed to be heading from Texas to New Mexico for his job. Of course, being a kid, I got bored pretty easy. So seeing as it was a super foggy morning and it was really creepy outside, my old man decides it's story time. Starts telling me the story I just told you. And he gets real into it too. Starts talking with his hands and stuff. He gets right up to the part about the truck stop, and I shit you not, some dude starts yelling over the CB radio, wishing everyone a good morning, and it scares the shit out of us. I've never seen my dad jump so high in my life, man. My old man must have yelled at the dude for a full 20 minutes about scaring him. Still cracks me up thinking about it sometimes. Yeah, my old man was funny like that. Like I said, you would have liked him. Nah, don't worry about it. He passed a long time ago. At least now I got someone I could tell his ghost stories to. Hey, you hear that? The rain's dying down. Looks like the storm's just about over. If you want, we could flip the breaker and... Okay. I guess the breaker can wait. Oh, starting to get sleepy, are we? It's okay. I'll stay right here. Yeah, of course. I don't mind. I'll stay as long as you need me to. So go ahead and rest. I know you're tired. I love you too, sweetheart. Sweet dreams.